The power of relentless curiosity is the foundation of every unstoppable human being who has ever walked this earth. It is the silent force that drives discovery, creation, and transformation. When you are curious, you are not content with the surface of things. You want to know what lies beneath. You question not because you doubt your ability, personas, but because you refuse to settle for easy answers. The world has always been shaped by minds that refuse to accept that's just how it is. Curiosity is not merely a trait. It's a way of life. Conas, an invisible flame that keeps burning inside you, pushing you to learn more, try more, and become more. When you begin to live with that kind of hunger to understand, to grow, to explore, personas, you stop fearing the unknown and start dancing with it. You realize that the boundaries others see are just starting points for you. You see, most people lose their curiosity early in life. Thus they grow up, they get comfortable, and they start trading wonder for certainty. They stop asking questions because answers feel safer. But that safety is a cage. It keeps you from discovering what you're truly capable of. The most unstoppable people in the world are those who stay curious even when life gives them every reason to quit. When something doesn't work, they don't complain. They experiment. When they don't understand something, they don't give up. They investigate. When the world says, impossible, they say, let's find out. That's the difference between those who live average lives and those who live extraordinary ones. Curiosity keeps your mind alive when everything else wants you to settle down. It keeps your energy sharp, your ideas flowing, and your heart open to new possibilities. When you wake up every morning asking, what can I learn today? You shift your entire relationship with life. You stop seeing obstacles as threats and start seeing them as puzzles to solve. You stop seeing failure as defeat and start seeing it as data. You begin to realize that every setback contains information that can help you grow stronger, smarter, and more effective. Because that mindset turns pain into power. It transforms confusion into clarity. It makes you unstoppable because nothing that happens to you can truly hold you back anymore. You're always learning, plus always adapting, always evolving. Curiosity is also deeply connected to humility. The recognition that no matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. That's what keeps great minds from stagnating. They know that mastery isn't a destination, it's a moving target. Every answer opens 10 more questions. And the deeper you go, the more you realize how much more there is to explore. That humility doesn't weaken you. It gives you strength. It keeps your ego from building walls around your growth. It keeps you teachable, open to new perspectives, new experiences, and new levels of insight. The moment you stop being curious is the moment you stop growing, and when growth stops, passion begins to fade. You might think curiosity belongs only to scientists or inventors or thinkers, but it belongs to everyone who wants to live fully. Curiosity fuels your relationships. It helps you listen deeply, understand others, and build genuine connections. It fuels your career. It pushes you to develop new skills, find creative solutions, and stay relevant in a changing world. It fuels your purpose. It helps you discover what truly excites and fulfills you. Curiosity gives color and dimension to your life because it invites you to keep exploring who you are and what you're capable of. Without it, life becomes predictable, routine, and dull. With it, every day becomes an adventure. But let's be clear, relentless curiosity isn't always comfortable. It will challenge you. It will take you into unfamiliar territory, into uncertainty, into moments when you have no idea what you're doing. That's where growth happens. That's where discovery lives. The people who become dangerously unstoppable are not those who avoid uncertainty. They are the ones who lean into it. They understand that discomfort is not the enemy. It's a signal that you're expanding your boundaries. Every great breakthrough in history came from someone who was willing to stand in that space between what is known and what is possible. That space is where the curious thrive. The truth is, curiosity is not just a mental state. It's a choice. It's the decision to keep exploring even when it's easier to stay comfortable. It's the decision to keep asking questions even when people around you have stopped. It's the decision to never let fear of failure silence your sense of wonder. When you make that choice daily, you start noticing opportunities others miss. You start seeing connections others overlook. You start unlocking levels of creativity and understanding that can transform your entire path. Personas, that's the hidden power of curiosity. It doesn't just change how you think, it changes who you become. Imagine living with that kind of mindset every single day. Imagine waking up with a spark of excitement because you know there's something new waiting for you to discover. You don't dread challenges, you chase them. You don't shy away from complexity, you're drawn to it. You become a student of everything, of people, of ideas, of experiences, of failure itself. Personas, you start realizing that life is not something that happens to you, it's something you participate in. You shape it by how deeply you engage with it. And when your curiosity becomes relentless, when it becomes a force that drives you beyond what's comfortable, you tap into something extraordinary. You begin to operate on a different level, one that most people never reach because they stop exploring too soon. So how do you cultivate this power in yourself? Start by noticing the moments you hold back from asking a question. Challenge that hesitation. Ask anyway. Read widely, listen deeply, explore subjects that have nothing to do with your work, but everything to do with expanding your perspective. Surround yourself with people who inspire your thinking rather than limit it. Most importantly, never assume you already know enough. The moment you think you figured it all out, that's when you start falling behind. Curiosity thrives in motion. Keep it alive by feeding it daily, with learning, with exploration, with experimentation. Because when curiosity becomes your habit, success becomes inevitable. It may not come overnight, but it will come with precision and power. You'll start to see the invisible patterns in life, the subtle opportunities hiding in chaos, subtle as the lessons buried inside your struggles. That's what it means to be dangerously unstoppable. You're not driven by ego or fear or competition. You're driven by the pure, unstoppable desire to understand, to create, and to grow. And once you begin living that way, nothing in the world can stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Personas, the science of resilience begins with understanding that life was never meant to be easy, fair, or predictable. It was meant to test you, shape you, and forge you into someone stronger than you were yesterday. Every challenge you've ever faced was not there to break you. It was there to reveal you. When you understand this, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift in mindset changes everything. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build through experience, through endurance, and through the decision to keep going even when it would be easier to stop. You become unstoppable not by avoiding pain, but by mastering it, by learning how to turn pressure into power. Every human being experiences setbacks. Everyone fails. Everyone gets knocked down. As what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary is not the number of times they fall, but the way they rise. The truly resilient don't rise because they're stronger than everyone else. They rise because they refuse to stay down. They've learned that pain is part of progress, and resistance is part of growth. Think about a muscle, it only grows when it's stretched, strained, and then pushed beyond its limit. The same is true for your character. If you avoid discomfort, you avoid growth. But if you face it, if you lean into it, you begin to understand that every difficulty carries a hidden gift, and that gift is resilience. See, the most powerful people in the world are not those who never feel fear or doubt. They're the ones who have learned to move forward despite them. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't surrender to it. It's the art of recovering faster, learning deeper, and rising stronger. And it's built one decision at a time. Every time you choose to keep going, every time you choose faith over frustration, every time you decide that your purpose is greater than your pain. That's how resilience is forged. It's not born in comfort. It's born in chaos. Science says there is a principle called quantum tunneling, where particles pass through barriers that, according to classical physics, they shouldn't be able to cross. Whereas resilience works the same way in life. You reach a wall, emotional, financial, personal, and it looks solid, impossible to move through. But if you refuse to stop, if you keep applying energy, faith, and determination, you eventually break through that wall. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. That's the magic of resilience. It bends reality in your favor when you refuse to quit. Personas. There will be times when nothing seems to work. You'll give your best and life will still knock you down. You'll plan everything perfectly, and still things will fall apart. In those moments, resilience is your only lifeline. It's the quiet inner voice that says, get up, try again. It's not loud or dramatic, it's steady and unshakable. It doesn't depend on motivation or luck, it depends on discipline. Because motivation is temporary, but resilience is eternal. You don't wait for the right moment, you create it. You don't wait to feel ready, you act anyway. And in the process, you discover that resilience is not about bouncing back to who you were. It's about growing into someone better than you were before. Resilience is also about emotional control. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what it means to you. You can choose whether to see an obstacle as a curse or a catalyst. You can choose whether to let pain make you bitter or make you better. When you learn to take responsibility for your response, you take back your power. Life will always throw storms your way. But the person who's built resilience doesn't pray for calm seas. They learn how to sail through the storm. They understand that calm waters never made skilled sailors. The beauty of resilience is that it compounds. Every time you overcome something difficult, you build inner strength. Every time you face fear and move forward anyway, you create evidence that you are capable. Over time, that evidence turns into confidence. Not arrogance, but quiet, unshakable confidence that no matter what comes, you will handle it. That's how people become unstoppable, not because they never face problems, but because problems no longer control them. You have to understand that resilience doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you always have the right answer or the perfect attitude. Sometimes resilience is messy. Sometimes it's tears, frustration, and exhaustion. But it's still movement. Personas is still choosing not to give up, even when you're tired, even when you're uncertain, even when it feels like you have nothing left. If you can take one more step, personas, you are proving that your will is stronger than your circumstances. And once you realize that the world can no longer stop you, there's another beautiful truth about resilience: it inspires others. When people see you rise after being knocked down, they see what's possible for themselves. You become a mirror of hope, a living example that it can be done. Your strength gives others permission to believe in their own. That's why your resilience matters, not just for your success, but for the lives you touch along the way. Because someone out there is watching you right now, waiting to see if you'll rise again. And when you do, you show them that they can too. So how do you strengthen your resilience every day? You start by embracing discomfort instead of avoiding it. You stop running from challenges and start running toward them. Personas. You learn to see every problem as a test of your preparation and a chance to sharpen your edge. Yes, you remind yourself that setbacks are not signs to quit. They're signs that you're in the process of becoming something greater. Every difficulty is a doorway to a higher level of strength and awareness, but only if you have the courage to walk through it. So resilience also means keeping your vision alive even when the path disappears. There will be seasons of silence when nothing seems to move, when your efforts feel wasted. When people doubt you and you start doubting yourself. That's when you must remember why you started. Hold that vision so tightly that even the darkest moments can't erase it. So when you can see the destination clearly enough, you'll always find a way to keep moving toward it, no matter how rough the road gets. Ciolas, the science of resilience is the science of energy conversion, taking pain and turning it into power, taking rejection and turning it into redirection, taking defeat and turning it into determination. Every trial you survive is fuel for the next level. Every scar you carry is proof of endurance. You stop fearing the fall because you've learned how to rise. Sunas, you stop fearing failure because you've learned that failure is never final. And when you live with that understanding, you become untouchable. Because in the end, resilience isn't just about surviving the storm, it's about learning to dance in the rain. To become dangerously unstoppable, you must learn to master the mind. You must reprogram it until it stops working against you and starts working for you. Every dream, every breakthrough, every revolution begins in the human mind long before it shows up in reality. Sunas, the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Focus is not just about concentration, it's about control, direction and clarity. Most people live with minds that are scattered. Sonas, distracted, pulled in every direction by noise and stimulation. They wake up with energy but no direction. And so that energy gets diluted across 100 meaningless things. The unstoppable ones are different. They learn to focus their thoughts the same way a laser focuses light. Narrow, precise and powerful enough to cut through steel. Focus is energy. Whatever you give attention to expands. If you focus on problems, your problems grow. If you focus on opportunities, your opportunities multiply. That's not philosophy, it's physics. Sonas, energy flows where attention goes. Every time you allow distraction to steal your focus, you're giving away your energy, your creativity, and your potential. But when you reclaim control of your attention, you take back control of your destiny. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with absolute intensity. It's about saying no to everything that doesn't move you closer to your purpose. Because every yes to distraction is a no to your destiny. Your mind is the most powerful instrument in existence, but it has to be trained. Left alone, it becomes chaotic, restless, and reactive. It jumps from one thing to another, chasing every stimulus like a child chasing fireflies. But when trained, when disciplined, it becomes a force of creation. It starts to see patterns where others see noise, solutions where others see chaos. You start to think deliberately, act intentionally, and move strategically. That's the transformation that separates the average from the unstoppable. Your ability to focus with clarity and consistency determines the speed and magnitude of your success. Think about how easily the world pulls at your attention today. Endless notifications, constant news, messages, opinions, and entertainment. We live in a time when the greatest threat to success is not lack of opportunity, but lack of focus. People are drowning in information but starving for direction. They mistake activity for achievement and business for productivity. But you can't build greatness on scattered effort. You build it on deliberate, disciplined attention. The most powerful minds in history understood that focus is the gateway to genius. They structured their days around deep work, not constant motion. They created environments that supported clarity, not chaos. They didn't try to do everything. They focused on one thing until it was mastered. When you start to reprogram your mind for focus, so as you begin by reclaiming silence. You turn off the noise. You give your mind room to think. Most people fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. But that's where power begins, in the quiet space where you can hear your own thoughts again. In that space, you can design your direction, plan your strategy, and remind yourself of who you are and what you're fighting for. The mind needs discipline the way the body needs training. You can't build strength by doing push-ups once a month. You can't build focus by meditating once a year. It's daily repetition that rewires your mind. Every day you practice focus, you sharpen the edge of your awareness. So every time you resist distraction, you strengthen your inner control. Over time, you stop reacting to life. You start directing it. You must also guard your mind like it's sacred, because it is. Be careful what you feed it, who you listen to, and what you allow to influence you. The world is full of voices trying to shape your thinking. Some will feed your ambition, others will feed your doubt. You have to choose carefully. Every thought you entertain is a seed, and your focus is the sunlight that makes it grow. Plant the right seeds. Thoughts of courage, conviction, vision, and your life will reflect it. Plant seeds of fear, comparison, and negativity, and that's what will multiply. The unstoppable mind is selective. It doesn't allow just anything to enter. Personas it filters, it protects, it curates its own reality. Another powerful truth about focus is that it creates momentum. Once you align your thoughts and energy toward one clear goal, the universe begins to align with you. Things start to connect in ways you couldn't predict. People show up. Opportunities appear. It's not magic, it's physics. The world responds to energy that's consistent and intentional. That's why half-committed people rarely succeed. Their energy is too scattered to move mountains. But when you commit fully, plus when your focus comes unshakable, you generate momentum that carries you forward even through resistance. Focus is not about effort alone, it's about alignment. When your mind, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, you become unstoppable. And yet, one of the hardest parts of maintaining focus is learning to say no. Not just to distractions, but to good things that aren't the right things. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. See us, greatness requires sacrifice. It means walking away from comfort, entertainment, and instant gratification. It means missing out on things that don't serve your mission. Every distraction has a cost, and that cost is your potential. When you truly understand that, you start protecting your time and focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. See us, every hour wasted in distraction is an hour stolen from your purpose. You can train your mind the same way an athlete trains their body. Create rituals that reinforce focus. Begin each day by defining your top priorities and eliminating what doesn't matter. Set clear intentions for every action. Use visualization to keep your goals vivid and alive in your mind. And when distractions arise, and they always will, practice bringing your attention back again and again until focus becomes second nature. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. Every time you bring your mind back to the task, you are strengthening your mental muscle. True focus also requires emotional discipline. It's not just about ignoring distractions from the outside. It's about mastering the noise within: doubt, fear, impatience, self-criticism. These inner distractions are far more dangerous than anything external because they sabotage your focus from the inside out. That's why emotional intelligence is inseparable from mental focus. You must learn to calm your mind when it races, steady your emotions when they fluctuate, and remind yourself of your vision when you're tempted to quit. Focus doesn't mean force, it means flow. It's the art of staying centered even when everything around you feels chaotic. When your mind becomes focused, your entire world changes. Time slows down. You stop chasing 100 directions and start moving forward in one powerful, purposeful line. You begin to achieve in months what used to take years because your energy is no longer divided. Thus, you experience clarity, confidence, and peace. Not because life gets easier, but because your mind stops fighting itself. You become the master of your thoughts instead of their prisoner. And that mastery gives you the power to design your future deliberately instead of drifting into it by chance. Because in the end, focus isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about mastering the world within you. Passion is energy in motion, the raw current that fuels every breakthrough, every creation. Pasanas, every leap toward greatness. It's not a word you whisper, it's a fire that roars inside you when you align your heart with your purpose. You can have knowledge, skill, and opportunity. But without passion, you'll never reach your true potential. Passion is what gives your work meaning. It's what turns struggle into strength and effort into excellence. When you're passionate, you don't need to be pushed. You're pulled. Something inside you drives you forward. It wakes you early, keeps you up late, and gives you the courage to keep going when everyone else has stopped. That's what it means to be dangerously unstoppable. To live with a fire so focused, so alive, that it cannot be extinguished by doubt, failure, or fear. The secret is understanding that passion is not found, it's ignited. Too many people wait for it to appear as if one day they'll stumble upon it like a hidden treasure. But passion doesn't work that way. It's not something you discover. It's something you build through action, curiosity, and perseverance. When you start doing what excites your soul, even in small steps, passion grows. It's the natural result of engagement, not the cause of it. You don't wait to feel inspired, you take action, and inspiration meets you on the way. The moment you start moving in the direction of what feels meaningful, passion begins to take shape, and it becomes the engine that propels you through every challenge. When passion merges with purpose, you become unstoppable. Purpose gives passion direction. It turns a spark into a guiding light. Passion without purpose burns fast and fades quickly, but passion with purpose becomes a lifelong fire. It's not about excitement alone, it's about alignment. It's the feeling of knowing that what you're doing matters. That your energy is creating something bigger than yourself. That every effort, every sacrifice, every sleepless late night contributes to a mission worth pursuing. Purpose is the compass, passion is the fuel. Together they turn ordinary people into forces of nature. Every great achievement in history was driven by someone whose passion refused to die. It's what carried explorers through unknown lands, scientists through years of failure, and artists through rejection after rejection. Passion makes you persistent, it gives you emotional resilience. When everyone else walks away because it's too hard, you stay because you can't imagine doing anything else. Passion gives pain a reason. It transforms obstacles into stepping stones. It allows you to endure personas, because the vision burning inside you is stronger than the discomfort outside you. There's something magnetic about people who live with passion. You can feel it when they walk into a room. Their energy shifts the atmosphere. They speak with conviction, move with confidence, and radiate purpose. They attract opportunities not because they chase them, but because their energy creates them. The world responds to passion. It's contagious. People want to be around it, follow it, support it. When you live with passion, you don't just change your life. You influence the lives of everyone around you. You become a living reminder of what's possible when someone fully commits to their calling. But here's what many people misunderstand: passion isn't always comfortable or glamorous. So it's not constant excitement or endless motivation. Real passion often looks like hard work, frustration, and long periods of uncertainty. It's showing up when you're tired. It's doing your best even when no one is watching. It's staying committed when results are slow. Passion doesn't make things easy. It makes them worth it. Because passion isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. It's the decision to keep showing up for what you love, even on the days when it doesn't love you back. You must also learn to protect your passion. The world will try to dim it with criticism, distraction, and doubt. People will tell you to be realistic, to calm down, to play it safe. But safe never changed the world. Passion thrives in boldness. You have to guard it fiercely. Surround yourself with people who feed your fire, not those who pour water on it. Create environments that inspire you, that remind you of your vision, that keep your energy alive. Protecting your passion isn't selfish, it's essential. Because when your fire goes out, you can't light the way for anyone else. One of the most powerful ways to keep your passion alive is through gratitude. Gratitude transforms effort into joy and challenges into opportunities. When you're grateful for the chance to grow, to create, to contribute, your energy stays high. Gratitude keeps your perspective clear. It reminds you why you started and helps you see progress even when it feels small. It's impossible to burn out when you're truly grateful for the journey. Gratitude turns your passion from a flame into a steady fire that can last a lifetime. There's also a deeper layer to passion that most people never reach. It's not just about what you do, but who you become in the process. Passion refines you. Plus, it stretches you beyond your comfort zone. It forces you to evolve, to shed old habits and limiting beliefs. Every time you act on your passion, you're shaping your identity. You begin to see yourself not just as someone who dreams, but as someone who does. And that shift, from dreamer to doer, is where unstoppable transformation begins. Passion also connects you to something greater than yourself. When you pursue what truly matters, you realize that your work isn't just about you. It's about the people you impact, the lives you touch, and the legacy you leave behind. That realization gives your energy an almost spiritual strength. You stop chasing validation because you're driven by contribution. You stop competing because you're focused on creating. You stop fearing failure because your purpose is bigger than your pride. That's the kind of passion that lasts forever. Every day. You have a choice. You can live on autopilot, letting the world dictate your direction, or you can choose to live with passion and purpose, shaping your life deliberately, consciously, and courageously. You can choose to wake up and do what excites your soul, even when it's hard, even when it's uncertain. Because passion is not about guarantees. It's about giving your all. Regardless of the outcome, it's about living fully, loving deeply, and giving completely. When your passion burns bright enough, it doesn't just light your path. It lights the world around you. It turns ordinary days into extraordinary opportunities. It transforms work into art and struggle into story. You stop existing and start truly living. Because in the end, passion is not what you have, it's what you are. And when you live from that fire, when your purpose fuels your every move, there is nothing and no one that can stand in your way.